Deep in the heart of Central Texas, 10 minutes north of Waco in a small town called Elmont, is Blackside Studios, a tiny indie game company making pre-painted MDF kits, miniatures, and tabletop games. In the closing months of 2022, the team is gearing up for its first big release of next year. A brand new project written by their longest employee and first-time writer, Doug Kundle. The challenges faced by such a small company in this industry are varied, and in this series we'll show you behind the curtain what it actually takes to make a small indie project like this a reality. Come with us on a journey in the very first episode of Behind the Game, the story of Hametsu. The vulnerability of putting everything out there and showing the process is a little scary. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's, sometimes the creative that gets generated ends up on the cutting room floor. There's a lot of parts to the job that kind of private, I guess, if that makes sense.
When you have 6 total employees, 2 owners that are working on these things, and in this case you have one guy who kind of has a dream for a game. It's very easy when you open it up publicly to say, wow, is this good? Maybe it's not, and maybe I'm bad at what I'm doing.
Hametsu is a co-op high fantasy monster hunting game set in like an alternate history feudal Japan. A very serious event has happened on the archipelago called the Cataclysm, and this has basically unleashed a wave of mythological creatures onto the area there, wreaking havoc on villages and cities and things like that. And you play as a group of skilled fighters, wizards, clerics, things like that, that are hunting these mythological creatures, trying to hurt the populace. Yeah, it is my first game to get published, yes. I have worked on a couple other rule sets up until now, but none of them are as polished as this one.
So is this more of a history-focused game, or is this more of a fantasy-focused game? Or does it combine equal parts of both?
I think that's a tough one. It is definitely based in like events that happened up until this point in like the 1500s, but that's kind of where it deviates and it becomes more fantasy with magic and creatures and, super powerful beings and things like that. But we did that partially because most of the, a lot of gamers already have resources and materials. If we produce a game that's some weird wacky universe that you can't use your, samurai minis that you have or your feudal Japanese buildings for your historical games that you have, it kind of sucks. There's basically 3 phases of the game. There's beginning of the game where you start in stealth. Once the alarm has been raised, from then on in the rest of the game, the enemies kind of come after you. And the 3rd phase is once you find the boss. The point of every game is to find and kill the boss creature that's there. And you do that by investigating clues that are scattered around the battlefield. At a certain point, you'll investigate enough and you'll find enough clues to figure out where it is, and you'll spawn it. Spawning it's random, you don't know what creature you're gonna fight. And once it comes into the play, all the lower enemies, the Oni demons that you've been fighting, all run away. So Hametsu is all D6 based. And I know me personally, I got started into miniature wargaming, like most people, by walking into a shop and seeing guys playing a giant table of 40K, right? And one of the things that I thought was so cool about that was watching guys roll handfuls of dice. Your character has stats, and whatever that stat is equal to, that's the number of dice that you roll to complete an action. So if you have an attack stat of 7, you roll 7d6 every time you're gonna make an attack. Characters will feel very fast on the table, plays on a 3x3. Characters each start with a base of 6-inch movement, can move 12 inches per turn. The enemies operate on an AI system, so at the beginning of the game, all of the characters begin in stealth. The enemies don't know that they're there. This gives you an opportunity to try to sneak around and pick off some of the enemies before they're aware of your presence. Once the alarm has been raised, they're just gonna all come after you. So you have to be very tactical about how you position your characters and where you put people, because as these Oni demons start to converge on you, it's very, very easy to become outnumbered. I want players to play a round of the game and feel like they are in this time period, like their characters are prepared for what's coming, but they're not invincible. You know, we want players to feel powerful, but combat is very dangerous, and you can, if you make bad decisions or play your character badly, you can definitely, you know, not survive rounds.
This is our 7th game. Number 7, lucky number 7.
So you do a lot of the art, almost all the art,
All the art.
all the layout,
Yeah.
a lot of lore building as a result.
Yeah.
You work with Doug to say, hey, what's cool and what's not. There's some art behind you that has somewhat representative of that.
Mm-hmm.
You've done that a few times now. Don't Look Back, Lunar, and Yafsika were all heavily lored artists by you. What is, at this point in the 7th game, is that something you're looking forward to or dreading?
So the process of doing a game, a book, essentially, because really we're talking about a book, right? Is pretty intense. It can get pretty intense. So I typically will start off with just some general art. It could be something as simple as a character from the game. It could be something simple as an environment. It's all about setting the tone and the vibe of the world. You start looking at having to invent and conceptualize new worlds and new concepts, so to speak. It gets quite complicated and it gets pretty intense. When I say intense, what I mean is like, it takes a lot of creative fuel to do that, to generate the end product. And hopefully, fingers crossed, you come out with something that you're happy with and that people like.
My main goal with this was to make something that played quickly, was very easy to grasp, and was not rules heavy. I tried to take inspiration from games that, you know, my wife and I had played, that we played here at the office. Easy to set up, easy to teach somebody, easy to get a game in, and you know, really like captures a theme really well. Also some like design and flavor inspiration from, you know, things like The Witcher or Neo or Sekiro, you know, games that kind of delved into what I was trying to do, but weren't really like the thing that I wanted.
Right now it's all just about generating art, trying different art styles, trying different approaches to the creative. I'm not starting on any miniatures yet. It's all about really just nailing down the vibe of what the game is going to be. Is it going to be highly graphical in terms of like Is it going to be more like comic book art or more graphic design style? Is it going to be more traditional fantasy where it's going to be more like complicated rendered art where you have a lot of painting and rendering involved? Is it going to be more line art, sketching style, ink art? There's like 1,000 different directions you can go. I think the role of a creative director is to kind of like rein all those things in together and then very quickly come up with the direction that you want to steer the ship, and then pick that direction and be sure enough of yourself that you're gonna, go the right direction, I guess. While the team has years of experience of getting products to market, Blacksite still faces challenges when it comes to marketing and launching new projects like this. While it may be easy to spin up a new MDF product release or a new set of resin miniatures, they are still very green when it comes to making and releasing fully fledged games.
The hard part of developing a game is writing the game. The hard part is creating the thing. But to make it a product, to get it into a booklet, to get miniatures, to get accessories, to get the thing over the line and shelf ready is incredibly hard and expensive, especially when you have a very small group of people that are doing all of those things. I think a lot of the times I am considering the production of the material or product, especially from an MDF standpoint, meaning how we're stressing our production line. We do a lot of manufacturing in the house, a lot of packing in the house. There's a lot of very tangible logistics that you have to overcome for that sort of thing. While we started wanting to make cool stuff, sometimes cool stuff is not profitable. So how do you make it profitable while still making cool stuff? I think that is the biggest hurdle to overcome when making a new product.
For me personally, right, the biggest challenge is going to be getting the rule book into a finished and balanced position in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
The team is dead set on getting Hametsu ready for release by the end of January 2023. While this might seem like a tight deadline, a lot of rules prep work has already been done and the game is starting to take shape. Doug and Ben are currently deep into the writing and ideation phase of the process, but with no clear path yet on what the game will look like creatively, it's clear that they still have many challenges and hurdles to navigate.
There's a ton of things that are going to go on in this series that I think will be very insightful to people who may be interested in doing it. And I would like for people to see that it's possible. You don't have to have, a crazy amount of infrastructure to write a game, to make something happen. I would like people to feel encouraged and feel like that thing that they've been wanting to do but haven't because of all of the issues that come up, it's worth it. Just, go after it. Try it. You never know.
That old thing of, do you really want to see how the sausage is made? Maybe not. Maybe people think less of us if they see how our process really is. These are all the fears that we have of documenting this kind of thing. But in the effort of transparency and the want to show people really how things are behind the scenes for a small business like ours, I think, I hope that'll win out.